I want to talk to you about consulting, consulting services, and my view on consulting. Now, and the reason I want to bring this subject up is because I get lots of comments and remarks from a variety of different people in different situations. And, you know, I think it's important to really appreciate and understand the role of consulting and what it's all about. I mean, people make the point, well, no, I won't bring a consultant in because I could rather do the job myself. And comments like that. Now, quite honestly, if that's the case, if you would rather do the job yourself, then you don't need a consultant in your business, because a consultant should only be brought in if he is going to add additional value and additional skills that you don't have. If you're going to bring a consultant in to do something that you can do yourself, I agree with you. It is a waste of money. And there's no point in you even thinking about bringing in a consultant. So consultants have got to be used effectively for the skills, for the knowledge, for the experience they bring to the table. Now, consultants come in all shapes and sizes, as you can see. And they can be all ages, and they can be part of a large group. So some of the, some very large international consultants come with many layers and structures of people doing various tasks, or they can be one individual person who brings certain skills to the table. Now, let's get clear on what consultancy is all about. I've already said it really. It's all about bringing skills and experience to the table which isn't there already and would take a long time to get there. Now let me just talk a little bit about experiences that I have as a consultant. I didn't decide to be a consultant when I was in my 20s or in my 30s or in my 40s. It was only when I got to my 50s that I considered even becoming a consultant in the field of operation that I understand. And it wasn't really about consulting in the art of retail or consulting in the art of particular tasks in retail or particular software in retail or particular structure in retail. It was about geography. It was about places in the world. So it was about cultural understandings. It was about long-term relationships. It was about all those kind of things that I feel I could bring to the table for businesses. Businesses that would like to move into new markets outside the EU, in the Middle East, in the Far East, and in Africa in particular. Those were the three major regions of the world that I focused on. And I focused on those regions because it's an area I know very well. I've lived there, not just for 6 months, but for many years. Over a decade in Africa, and over a decade in the Middle East, and over 5 years in Asia. So I understand the cultural makeup of a variety of those countries across those parts of the world. I also know many people in those parts of the world, people that have become not just business acquaintances but have become good friends, people I've kept constant relations with, shared communication, been to birthday parties, been to various celebrations, weddings. So I've learnt to keep contact with people in those parts of the world. Now, when I'm asked to get involved in assisting a company in the UK venture into new markets outside the EU, by either selling products into that market or selling services into that market or wishing to set up a business in those markets, I get then selected, asked questions like, which country do I think would be best for their product? And I can tell them the reasons which countries I think are the best and why I think they're the best. And what is my logical reason for thinking they're the best. And I'll give a great detail of why I think country A is better than country B and country C. I can do that. A, because I've lived there for a long period of time, so I understand those countries well. B, I've got to know certain key people in those countries who I can recommend to either partner with or associate with as the new company. And 3, I can look at the current situation with the company that's asking me this in the UK and fit them into the right environment overseas. Now, that in itself is valuable advice that is worth money. Because what I can do and recommend in a matter of a few days could take a company to go and find that experience out for themselves and come to the same conclusion, could take them many, many years. Many, many years. So that is what they're paying for in my service to start with. They're paying for my level of skills and experience to get them from point A to point B quickly and efficiently by cutting out years and years of trying to establish it for themselves, make their own contacts, and possibly then even make some errors in the long run. Now, no relationship is foolproof as a recommendation I will give, but it is very, very clear, very, very clear that it can be done very efficiently using a consultant. So if somebody said to me, oh no, I think I'd rather do it myself, fine, you can do it yourself, but it'll take you many more years and it will cost you a lot more money to do it, and you're going to take a lot longer to get to that process of success, because you're going to do it yourself. So if you've never been to the Middle East, or you've never been to Africa, or you've never been to South America or Asia, you're not going to be able to get there quickly. You're going to have to go on a learning experience over a lengthy period of time. That is what a consultant brings to the table. Many companies don't understand that. They don't understand the logic of well, a consultant just is a waste of money. They cost too much money and they don't have any responsibility, and they just come in and they give some advice and they walk away. In a nutshell, yes, to some extent we do give advice, but there are good consultants and bad consultants. Let's think about this now. If you're a consultant that's specializing in the latest technology, the latest gizmo in technology, then I would say your consultant is someone who should probably be in his 30s at the very oldest, who's come through a process of understanding the latest technology when they graduated and have been very closely linked with it over a period of time. And therefore, you're looking for those fresh brains that you have not got in your organization. You haven't employed anybody like that in your organization, and you're looking for fresh blood, fresh brains. If you're looking for an understanding of international markets outside your normal portfolio, outside the EU, for example, you're then looking for somebody who's lived in those countries for many years, traded in those countries for many years, understands the culture in those countries, and also has good contacts with people in those countries. Now then, the type of person you're looking for is no longer a 30-year-old. He is more likely to be a 50, 60 or 70-year-old, because you'd have to be that age to have had the experience of living in those countries for that extended period of time to pick up that experience. So consultants, as I say, come in all shapes and sizes with a variety of skills and added value to your organization, depending on where you want to go with it. But what I've got to say is, if consultants, the first question they're met with is a question of doubt, then my view would be, and my recommendation would be, don't talk to a consultant. You don't need one. You're rather going to learn it yourself the hard way and do it the hard way. Fine, and that's all right. That's okay. You have the right to do that. It's your business. And you're not wasting the consultant's time either. There are many businesses and many organizations and even government services that have wasted my time for years. I've taken them on good merit, good value, because they are in high authority in government, for example. But they've wasted my time. They've wanted the information from me before they've signed any sort of agreement to pay for it. Now, should I be giving that information free? Or should I be looking at moving on to the next client? Well, I think the answer to that is obvious. I've got to move on to the next client. As a consultant, I also choose my clients very carefully. I don't just look at anybody that knocks on my door and says, I want to hire you as my consultant. I need to understand a little bit more about them, what they are, what they're all about, what they're looking for. What can I do for them? Can I add any value in their situation? That's very important. It's not about I just want to take someone's money and walk away and say yes, and you can just have information that I think you want to hear. It's really about, can I add value? Can I do a job for you that is going to improve your situation, improve your circumstances? Consultants who just take on any job regardless because they want the money. They want the money. They're not really, the end result is not important to them. What's important to them is the money. And they're the sorts of individuals as consultants that give management consulting a bad name. And there are many people like that. There are many people who will take on jobs, take on roles where they know they don't have a hope in hell in adding value, but they will nevertheless do a good spin on it, take the check, and then spend a year, 6 months, 2 years, whatever, failing without adding any value and walking away. And obviously they're the people that give consulting a bad name. They are the people that make it difficult for then consultants who do care about their reputation and their skills and ability and experience and their end goals, their achievements. I think it is the most difficult profession to get into because it's difficult to sell it. It's difficult to sell that type of requirement, skill that you have for someone to put down money on the table before you part with your advice, your information. Okay, we think you're a good consultant. We think you've done a good job, and what we would like to do is recruit you, put you on our payroll, come and work for us, and we'll pay you a salary and give you all the company benefits, and come and work for us in a secure environment for a couple of years or few years, and do exactly what you say you can do. Now, that does happen to consultants. It's happened to me on 2 occasions in the Middle East, and therefore, you know, I know it's one of those situations, not unfortunate situation. In some respects, it can be a good situation because it can put you under less pressure and give you a lot more time to do what you have to do. I'm not saying that's the ideal situation on every occasion, but on certain occasions it can be the best option for all concerned. But whatever the case is, whether you are enticed into working for a company on the payroll for a period of time, or whether you are paid hourly, weekly, monthly, a rate to work in an environment as a consultant, the fact is you are bringing your skills to the table, adding value, putting a package together, a project together, which could not be done otherwise without you being present and involved in the process. What is very annoying, is when people and companies try and take advantage of your skills, abilities, and years of experience without paying a penny. They want to have meetings. They want to have you there all the time. They want to suck it out of you in a way before they even pay a cent. And I'm saying, yeah, you know what I'm capable of doing. That's why you've invited me here. Let's get that out of the way first. Okay, you want me involved? Fine. Sign here. Let's agree a fee, and then we can move it forward. We can start working on it. But it's so amazing how people will be forcing you to get involved in a situation, add your skills, add your experience, give them a whole list of things you can do before you actually get a cent. And this can go on for months. It can go on for years, actually. It can go on for years. And as much as you like the people, and you might even like the project that they are putting forward, you just get into a situation where you have to walk away eventually because they are not respecting your skills and your experience in bringing you in. They want to take it for nothing, which I think is absolutely, well, it's just ridiculous. It's unfair to think they can do that. Any other business arrangement, if it's going in to buy a product or buy a service of another kind, you have to pay. You have to pay, and you can't take it and say, well, we'll have we'll just take it. If we like it for a few months, we'll have it, but if we don't like it, we'll take it back and we'll get our money back. Of course, if there's a particular way you don't like the services going with a consultancy as a client, you can at any time cancel the contract. But the deposit, the fee to kick the project off is not returnable, because the work and information in many cases is already started. It's already been passed on. That's why you can't pay for the service with consulting after the event. You've got to pay a portion of the service up front, because from the beginning information is then flowing into the company's hands, and you're getting knowledge. So it's work has started in the process of getting introductions in place, or whatever is required. So it's a very important process to understand. I know I'm rambling on about consulting because it's a yeah, I do have a bone of contention with it. Consultants, as I've said, they come in all shapes and sizes, and some people call themselves consultants, and well, then they give consultancy a bad name because they can't do the job they've been asked to do. They've been employed to do a job. You've heard my view on age groups of consultants, a variety of age groups with experience. And I think it's also very important to know that you do not gain anything by half-heartedly talking to consultants. You've got to bring the person on board fully. You've got to get their commitment. You've got to get through understanding of their skills. And if you want to check out on a consultant to see how good he is, well, phone a few of his references up. Check out where he has been, where he has lived, where he has worked in the past, what are the projects he may have done or served on. Check out his credentials. Establish with a few other people in other parts of the world what he's been doing, to really establish if this person is right for you. 9 times out of 10, a relationship can be clearly defined as being right or wrong in that first meeting. You don't need to have weeks and months and years delivering on what this person might or might not be able to do for you. What you've got to have is the right relationship in the beginning. If you've got the right relationship in the beginning, the chances are you're going to have success. But if you can't meet and get that relationship right by getting an understanding of the mutual benefits that both parties require, you're not going to get there. That's why I make the point that bad consultants also have got a responsibility, and they're the ones that give consulting a bad name, because they take a job on even if they feel like they can't do it, but they need to do it for money and money only. It kills them for the future, kills their project, their next project, and it also gives consultancy a bad name generally. But thinking it through, and I want people to think about this. If you're a business, and let's take the current situation with Brexit. If you're a business that has spent the last couple of decades trading in the UK only, or trading only within the EU, and you now you have a desire to expand into new markets in Asia, for example. You've got no contacts in Asia. You can see Asia is a huge market in comparison with Europe, a very big market. And you want to get into that market. You feel your product is the right kind of product to stimulate that market, to get it right. How do you make that first move? Yes, you can use the DIT as it is now in these days. It used to be the DTI, the Department of Trade and Industry. You can use the embassies. You can speak to somebody who you may know who's done some business in other parts of the world, but it all tends to be a little bit ad hoc. Or you can recruit a consultant for a year or 2 years to take you through the whole process of introduction and delivery of your business model into that market, and form the right relationships with the right kind of people to do the job. Well, how do you take on a consultant, and what do you have to, what do you look at when you're taking on a consultant, someone to assist you in building your business? Well, this is my recommendations and mine only. And that is, first of all, you've got to really think about what are you trying to achieve. What are you looking for that you haven't got in your business already? There's no point in trying to think, well, I know all I need to do, but let's bring in a consultant and just see. You've got to give a consultant a little bit more information than that in what you're trying to look for. If you're going to ask a consultant to just think outside the box for you and just try and create ideas out of nothing, well, you can do that, but that could just be costing you money, and at the end of a period of time you may end up with nothing you really want to hear or nothing you really want to do. So it doesn't make good sense to me to take on a consultant for that type of activity. For me, you've got to be very clear on what direction you want to go in. If it's export opportunities, and I can speak with experience in that area because that's one of my skills. But if you're looking at breaking ground in new markets, it makes sense. You want to have a consultant who has a good knowledge of those markets, who can talk to you in detail about the pitfalls of going into some of those markets, and some of the good opportunities that are in those markets. And it's that type of process of discussion you want to have before you engage in a consultant to do a job for you. A question I think is also very important, and I always like it when I get asked this question, is what mistakes have I made in a particular market or country? Where did I learn from my mistakes, and how did I overcome them? Because consultants are human beings as well. Most of their experience has been gained through making errors the first time around and knowing how to do it right the second time. That has undoubtedly is what's important. So if you ask a question of a consultant, what mistakes have you made in your 20-30 years experience, and they say nothing, well, then again I would question that consultant's attributes, because you don't want him to be making his first mistake in your business. You want him to be to have learned something in terms of mistake making, so he can steer through these things. So I think there's a lot of experience to be gained in talking to a consultant to establish if he is right for you and your business. When it comes to paying a consultant, paying his required fee, you've got to also carefully think about this. Think about the value you are going to gain from this additional experience, additional knowledge that's going to be coming into your company, around your table. Think about the logic of what this fee consists of. Now, also consider over what time frame you're going to be paying this fee. How much of the fee are you paying up front, and how much of the fee are you paying on the completion of the job, and then what the total cost of this fee is for the experience and the introductions and the knowledge you are going to gain from it. Consultants can only take your business so far. They still need you to arrive with your product, with your service, and do the good job you are doing in your current markets. So, they can't expect to sell something that doesn't work, has flaws, has other problems with it. You've got to be realistic with what you are trying to achieve with your service or product as well. So, a consultant's fee is being put together having looked at your requirements. Now, if I was to say to you what is my hourly rate, it would be difficult for you to comprehend that, because then you would say, well, that's hourly rate, how many hours do I need, what sort of could I do that myself? And you would start stepping back and thinking, can I do that? All those sort of questions. So to get to a position of understanding the costs, you first got to establish what you want this consultant, to do for you. Then through discussion, you've got to establish from him the time frame he would need to do that for you, to get the best out of it for you, and to deliver a set of final results and commitments in the form of whatever it may be. It could be setting up business in a new market, it could be selling products into a new market, it could be introducing you to certain people in a market, it could be bringing products from a foreign market into your market. It could be various things. But the point is, there'll be a starting phase, a middle process of work, and an end phase. And that would be over a period of time. It could involve you with the consultant visiting a variety of locations at your expense. It could be somebody being brought over from another part of the world to meet you in your particular business at your expense. It could be the consultant going on his own to particular locations at your expense. There are so many different methods of what would be required in doing a job as a consultant for your business. So no one would be the same in that respect, and not every job is the same. And that's why when one's pricing jobs as a consultant, in my particular case, I look at every job in a bespoke way. I look at every job in terms of what this job is in terms of my effort and work in making it happen. You see, you're going to be taking the consultant's experience and knowledge, but not only are you taking his experience and knowledge, you are taking his integrity. What do I mean by giving one's integrity as a consultant? Well, think about it very carefully. I, as a consultant, have spent many years living in Asia, or Africa, or the Middle East, and I have formed very close bonds, very close relationships with people in business in that part of the world, or in government in that part of the world. And I am now, and I've known them for many years, I keep regular contact now with people in these parts of the world. So I have a high level of trust. I'm trusted by them, and I trust them myself. So now I'm going to be introducing them, for example, to my new client, who I don't know as well as I know them, obviously. And I am going to be recommending, in certain situations, for my client to spend time in an introduction with certain people I know very well, because I think that is the right kind of fit for the business. And that's what I mean about the level of integrity that a client is paying for when it comes to the service I'm providing. People form relationships with people over a period of time that last a lifetime and are more valuable than quite a few other things, to be quite honest with you. So when you're employing a good consultant, you're investing not only in his skills, his service and experience in foreign markets, you're investing in a level of integrity that he's putting on the table for you in a relationship you're going to have with people as well. And that is absolutely fundamental in this. I can give you one example of a level of understanding which was totally abused by a client I had many years ago. Actually, it was about 12 years ago, in the Middle East. And I made it very clear to this particular client, a UK company that supplied products in the FMCG field. And I made the point when I brought them out to the Middle East for the first time, to the Gulf region, and I said, because this is how the law worked at this particular point in time, I said, if you don't make the right choice with your client and you appoint them as your distributor and an agreement is signed and they don't deliver, they don't buy products from you, or they don't buy sufficient products for you, and you then want to change your distributor, you're going to have great difficulty with the legal system of changing distributor. Even if another distributor comes on board and says, I will be your distributor, you will not be able to do it. It'll take you years and years of legal hassle to free yourself of the current the first appointed distributor. And this company didn't take my advice. This is a big company, but they actually said yes at the time, jumped into an arrangement with somebody they just happened to meet at a trade fair, signed an agreement against my advice, and it was something like 12 months later I got to hear that they actually fell into that very trap of the product couldn't move on because the relationship they built with the first distributor they met, and I won't mention the country or the names of people obviously, didn't deliver. And not only did they not deliver, they purposefully, okay, I'm talking about the distributor, purposefully made point not to buy product, but to stand with a legal position of preventing that product going into the market, because they'd done a deal with a competitive product, and they just wanted to make sure that this product couldn't get introduction into the market through another source. And it was through that strategic thinking that they applied in their part of the world which made this company's life extremely difficult. And it was all through just not heeding to some advice and words I gave them right in the beginning. So, and that's just a simple little example, and I'm not going to dwell too much. I mean, you've got to actually understand that culturally things can be very different in countries. The ways and methods of business can be very different, and your trust is a key factor here. You know, it's a key factor here, and This is why you're investing in, when you invest in a good consultant, you're not only investing in his skills, experience, you're investing in a level of integrity to take this relationship forward. Okay, talk to you again soon.